Okay, today I'm going to do something that is long overdue for this truck. I can't believe in 1998 they even still made vehicles without cruise control, but here we are. So I'm spoiled by cruise control. I can't stand driving on the highway if I have to constantly modulate my speed and look down at the speedometer every 2 seconds to make sure I'm going the right speed. You start going uphill, it's like, oh, am I giving enough gas? It's just, I hate it. I can't stand driving this truck on the highway. So I looked into adding cruise control to something that didn't have it before. And on this particular truck, supposedly, all you have to do is change the turn signal stalk for one that has the cruise controls on it. And then, supposedly, again, all the wiring exists on the main harness for the cruise control. And then all you have to do is add the cruise control module under the hood. And the wiring harness is supposedly there and everything. So I figure, why not see if we can pull this off? So to change this out, when you watch videos on YouTube, take the steering first remove the airbag, then take the steering wheel off, then the bottom cover, the upper cover. To take the upper cover off, you have to pull the cylinder. After you get all that out of the way, and you take the actual two bolts that hold the stalk on, you got to take this kick panel or knee panel or whatever off, and you get up under here, and this thing right here is where the two wiring harnesses go into, right there and there. So there's a little bolt above this point that basically keeps this locked in. When you get that bolt out, it allows this, see that little black tab right there? It allows the whole thing to go up and release off of that, and then you can pull it down here and get access to it. And then there's a little bitty screw going into this harness to hold it, to basically bolt this whole thing to that connector. And I think there's one other connector up there. So pull the steering wheel, pull these covers, pull this. I'm always trying to think outside the box. I don't, every time I watched the video, it didn't look to me like the steering wheel really had to be removed, other than to make this easier to get off, I guess, and then this just to get easier access. So anyway, against my better judgment, I'm going to attempt to take this off and take off the wiring harness at the bottom without removing this or the steering wheel. So, you know, if I get to some point where I hit a roadblock and those things have to come off, then I'll be prepared to take them off at that point. But you know, it's worth a shot. Why take it off if you don't have to? So that's what I'm gonna try to do now. Alright, first things first, there's a T25 for these two screws. Now this might be the first roadblock, because this, if you look up under there, there's a lip there, and I think this thing has to actually move down before it can pull out. But let's just see if we can not do that. Let's get it to pull away from this boot here. So you're supposed to push back and then pull down. Because of these hooks right here. So okay, step one complete. So far so good as far as taking the steering wheel off. I think you can see up in there. So what I'm trying to point to is that right there. It's an E5 reverse Torx fastener. And so I'm gonna try to get this thing. I actually have an E5. So get that up in there. Take that one out. I think you can see that. Like that. And the other one is down there. It's pretty easy to see. Take this one out. Which it looks like the only thing this one does is turn that. See that up in there? So it's basically unscrewed from the upper cover. But, and this is what I was worried about earlier, It looks like it's the lip of this thing is stuck on the steering wheel, but I think I can get that around there. I'm pretty sure that I'm out of the water on this taking the steering wheel thing off, but I don't know. Let's see. Alright, now I think you need to put the key in. So on this part, let's see if I can get this. That didn't sound good. So make sure the battery is turned off. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not. So it's definitely not looking good for not taking the steering wheel off. Well, maybe. Okay, we got that around there. Alright, so there's a little hole in there, and you gotta push it in with a pick inside the hole while you turn this to the start position, and then you pull this out as far as it'll go, and then return the key back, and the cylinder supposedly will come out. So I am going to get this pick in the hole, push down on it while I push forward, pull out if I can. Hang on. I don't know if this pick is small enough. It might not be. I've got this one that's not quite a 90 degree. Ooh, that's not good. The key comes out? Ooh. Okay, I got the key. Well, I thought I did. Well, apparently that's how it happens. You're pushing on this thing. Okay. Okay. I just went through an absolute ordeal dealing with this. When I pulled the key out, it messed up the cylinder. The little bar wasn't fully retracting anymore when you stick the key in. And so, as you can see, we had a casualty. I'm probably going to end up replacing this cylinder, but I can continue for now, I guess. So, with the cover out of the way, turn this all the way forward, push this pick down in that hole. Alright, see how it came out that far? Now, the key will just pull out, obviously, so now you can pull the cylinder out and pull the top cover off, which is already off. And then I realized something during all this ordeal. You saw me prying this cover up. The only reason we took this upper cover off is so we could get to this screw right here. So, after I dealt with all this and ruined my freaking ignition cylinder, I got to thinking, well, why not just take that screw out when you're prying this thing up out of the way? Like, why take the upper cover off at all? So, I don't know. I have some regrets here, but let's just push forward. All right. Oh God. Take out the upper torque screw. So it looks like we got another roadblock from not taking the steering wheel off, which is the lower screw for the turn signal switch. So let me take this thing off. This is the other upper cover screw. So if we take that off, it should show us what we're looking for here. So there's the other screw. So I'm going to try to get the bit on there with a wrench and see if I can get that thing out without taking the steering wheel off. I'm going to an awful lot of trouble to save a little bit of time of taking the steering wheel off, I know, but I don't know. I'm going to stick with the plan. Okay. So we'll get our T25 bit in place. And then I got this little bit driver here. So I'm going to put my finger behind it to keep pressure on it. Okay. Jeez, Pete. So there's that screw. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to try to get that 7mm screw out of this thing. I have an idea. Let's see if this will work. Pull this away. Get this. Perfect. So now this should lift up, so that black tab there will lift up and allow this thing to drop down. And it's not, of course. Why? I don't know. Alright, I'm not really gaining as much access as I thought I would have, but pull it down to, well, I still can't really get to it. So this bolt up here is what I'm after. That'll separate this whole thing, and then we can get the two outers separated from the middle one and get the old harness out, run the new harness in, and get it all reattached. But this bar, this crash bar, or whatever this, well, it's not really a crash bar. This bar is just like right in the way, and there is no slack. So I guess I'm just going to try to get that ratchet up in there and pull that thing out and see what happens. So I'm thinking about taking this zip tie out and then undoing this harness off of this hook here so that it can just be a direct swing from there on down, and that should loosen it up. And when I'm putting it back, just putting the zip tie back, that shouldn't be a big deal. So alright, let's see if this works. So hopefully well, now it's bound up down here, so let me lift this back up. That might give it a little bit of... Come on, baby. Okay. Now, hopefully that'll... It's independent of the airbag. That's the airbag wire. I don't know if you saw any of that, but I think that'll give us some slack down there. Let's see. Alright. Can we pull this thing down any lower now? A little bit. There we go. Look at that. Look at all that slack it has now. It's still kind of pulling it. It's like aiming it upward like that. I wish it wasn't doing that. That looks pretty good right there. Just hold this down here while I can get this on that bolt in the middle. And there you have it. So yeah, that separated those two. Now, where's my pick? I never have anything I need. So now we should be able to take this and basically kind of pry out a little bit and push forward. I don't know if it's kind of hard to do. Oh, come on. I don't think that, oh, is that? Yeah, everything's all zip tied together, so it's still fighting me on the airbag light, which is really cool. There we go. So if I can not block the light, you can see how it's now separated from the tab, and so this should just go out like that, and then we do the same thing on the other side. Pry out the middle a little. No, we're inside the thing. Okay. Sweet. So that's disconnected from that, and now I think the only problem is the two harnesses are roughly taped together. So that's where there's a bunch of electrical tape type stuff holding these two harnesses together, and so I'm gonna have to try to reach in there and undo that so that we can separate those and get this turn signal stock harness out of there. I'm glad they did this, or the wiring harness would have fallen off the truck. Oh, come on, man. It's still zip tied, jerks. Okay, there's probably another zip tie back in there that I'm gonna have to get. Would you look at that?